morning. My name is Hope, and thanks for coming tonight. I'm an emergency medical technician, and through experience and research, I wanted to talk tonight about influenza and the flu virus. The flu is basically an acute onset of a respiratory infection, which means that one day you'll have an itchy throat, the next day you're at home in bed because you feel like you got hit by a truck. It's a virus. There's no cure for it, but our body's natural immune system is eventually going to get rid of it. You can only treat the symptoms, and the symptoms include things like coughing, sneezing, itchy eyes, like allergy symptoms, and excessive mucus production, which eventually can lead also to vomiting and diarrhea. Flu season is generally the winter months, late fall, early winter months, but it also, we see a big increase of it when kids start going back to school. So we see a big increase of it when kids start going back to school. So through my education today, hopefully I'm going to teach you some tips that we can all do to prevent getting the flu, and if you do happen to get infected, some easy ways to treat it so that your sick time is definitely shortened. The first tip that I have today is to maintain a healthy diet by balancing the meals that we eat through the 5 basic food groups. It helps promote our immunity that our bodies, create for ourselves. Also, you want to avoid excess caffeines and fatty foods and excess sugars that we eat. It takes more energy for our body to process these foods, and that energy that we're using can go to other things like promoting our immunity. Oh, also, when we don't, even when we eat right, our nutrients can be lost through everyday activities, so that's when dietary supplements come in. And multivitamins especially are designed to replenish the loss of vital nutrients that we lose throughout the day. There's different formulas that are designed for different lifestyles. You might want to talk to your doctor and see which one is best for you and your lifestyle. Also, if you're not the big pill type, you can also there's vitamin C as well, which is great during the flu season. It's a powerful antioxidant, and it helps boost our metabolism. Also, the body is over 70% of water. So the rule of thumb is for drinking water throughout the day is an 8x8 rule, which is 8 8-ounce glasses of water per day. Now that's for somebody that's average size. Somebody my size might want to drink a little bit more water throughout the day. And also maintaining an active lifestyle. Now for a cardio workout, it's recommended that you do 30 minutes 3 times a week. A lot of us moan and groan over that, but one thing that you need to know is when we do a lot of strenuous workout, our bodies produce a chemical called endorphins, and the molecular shape of endorphin is very similar to the molecular shape of morphine. And if you've ever had morphine, it makes you feel really good. So just by working out, we can create a good feeling in our bodies. Also, if you don't work out, you can wake up in the morning and stretch. Do techniques like yoga and Tai Chi. When you go to work, take the stairs instead of the elevator. Just little tips like that, help us to maintain an active lifestyle. Now, the most important part of prevention is going to be hand washing. When germs are invisible, are spread through contact. So when you come up to shake my hand, you don't know right before you shook it, what I was doing. So believe it or not, there's proper hand washing techniques. The first step that you want to do is to wet your hands, of course, and then you apply soap, but then you want to work up a lather. The little soap buds is what gets the germs gone. Then you're going to rub your hands vigorously for about 20 to 30 seconds. And you want to make sure you get underneath your nail beds, lots of bacteria underneath there. And then when you rinse, you're going to rinse from wrist to tip, washing all of those germs down the sink. If you don't have time to stop and wash your hands every 20 seconds, like I occasionally do, you can also use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. The CDC recommends that it's at least 60% alcohol. So, and things like Purell, the basic ones that they sell, are. Now, if you do happen to get infected, you want to talk to your doctor, and you definitely want to follow everything that he says. It's not necessarily something that you have to go see your doctor about, and it's definitely not considered an emergency. Keep in mind, if you do happen to go to the emergency room because you have the flu, you can infect other people that are there for very critical and have immunodeficiencies such as cancer, and that can mean their life. And also, you may not have the flu, you can have some kind of bacterial infection that could have been treated at your doctor's office. And therefore, you're there with everybody else that has the flu, you can end up getting it and get twice as sick as you originally were. Some emergency situations would be like, if your symptoms, well, you definitely should call your doctor if your symptoms last for longer than a week to 10 days. But as far as emergency situations, but you probably don't want it to get to this, is severe dehydration. You definitely want to watch that with kids because they're not as able to maintain homeostasis as we are. Also, there's febrile seizures. Kids aren't able to maintain their body temperatures as well as adults would be, so that when their fever spikes up, they end up having a seizure. That's definitely an emergency situation. And also, if you're like immunodeficient, have cancer or asthma or diabetes, anything like that, you probably want to call your doctor and let them know what's going on. But the good news is that most of the symptoms of the flu can be treated with over-the-counter medications. With fever, Tylenol and Motrin are your friends. Every 3 hours, alternating Tylenol and Motrin. Now, there are age-appropriate doses, so you want to make sure that you either read the instructions or talk to somebody before you start, throwing back the pills. Also, you probably should utilize over-the-counter cold and flu medications. They work great, especially for like sleeping and whatnot. There are antiviral medications that have been prescribed, such as Tamiflu, but Tamiflu is only effective if they're prescribed within the first 24 hours. So the next day when you're laying in bed and you felt like you get hit by a truck, those antiviral medications are going to be ineffective because it's been 24 hours. The day before when you had the itchy throat, that's probably when they would have been most effective. Gargle with warm salt water. That helps. It's an old wives, or like an old school remedy, but it really does help. And you want to do that as hot as you can stand it for like 20 to 30 seconds, at least 4 times a day. Cool mist humidifiers. Cool mist humidifiers help relieve the congestion that we have. And there are prescription like steroids and anti-nausea medications that our doctor can prescribe, but I would definitely suggest using the over-the-counter method first. With the media hype lately, the H1N1 has put a lot of fear into a lot of people. Now, what you need to know about the H1N1 virus is it's a type A virus. That means that it mutates and it's harder for our bodies to get a hold of it for it to start breaking it down. That also means that it's more contagious. People who have died of it, most of them have some kind of immunodeficiency to begin with. But it's just like the regular flu. Don't let the media hype scare you. If you have any more questions or concerns, some great resources that you can go to is www.cdc.gov. Or if you have questions regarding medications or whatnot, you can also call any 24-hour pharmacist. Keep in mind that they do go to medical school, unlike nurses or anybody else. So with these preventative medications, hopefully it won't have to get that far, and hopefully we can prevent it. But if we do, stay at home for sure until 24 hours after your fever is broken, so you don't have your neighbors feeling the same way. So, are there any questions?
I need to go home.
You guys have any questions?